And if I could ask everybody before we start, as you hop on, if you could put your name in the Zoom description, that'll help with minutes. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Oh, here's Bennett. Okay, we'll jump into things. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Good morning, or actually good afternoon. I always say that. Good afternoon. These meetings are often in the morning, but not today. Thank you for joining today's Special Projects Committee meeting. And I would like to call the meeting to order at 3:01. And my name is Keith DeMello. I'm chair of the Workforce Development Council Special Projects Committee. I would like to acknowledge our vice chair, Dion Dizon, who's on as well. And aloha. Just a reminder, this is a public meeting under the open meeting law. The committee members and public guests are viewing in Zoom, and we also have staff at the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations, office room 317, in case members and guests wish to meet at an on-site location. To start the meeting and to document in the meetings, I will ask members and guests to introduce themselves by name and organization. So first, we have a bunch of people joining. So if I can ask the Workforce Development Council members who have joined us to introduce themselves with the name and organization if it's applicable. So Dion, how about we start with you?
Sorry, you notice I was having trouble with, I don't know how I had joined the meeting, but Dion Dizon with the UH West Oahu Center for Labor Education and Research.
All right, thank you. Let's see. David, I see you down there.
Yes, David Rodriguez, Director's Office. Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Any other WDC members?
Thomas Chalk, DBED, Creative Industries Division.
Thank you. And then if we could next go to WDC staff who have joined us. Bennett, if you could kick us off.
Bennett Misalucha, Executive Director, Workforce Development Council.
This is Angela Chalk, the Hele intern for the Workforce Development Council.
Tevis, WDC staff.
And next, I would like to go with guests. Let's start with our presenting guests. So Caroline and Jocelyn, if you'd like to introduce yourselves.
Hi, Caroline Witherspoon. I'm the president and CEO of Becker Communications.
And I'm Jocelyn Collado, my vice president at Becker Communications.
And next, any other guests, if you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, this is Carrie Price, Department of Labor and Industrial Relations, Director's Office, Program Specialist.
Thank you, Carrie.
Hi, this is Julie, Department of Labor, Fiscal Office.
Mary Clark.
Freitas with the Workforce Development Division.
I'm Nicolette Vanderlee, Program Manager at UH Community College System, Good Jobs Hawaii Project.
Thank you. And did we get everybody? Jade?
Hello, everyone. Jade Ross, the TC County of Maui Mayor's Office, Office of Economic Development.
Aloha, everyone. Lena Ala Nakamura, or Kauai Administrator, City Department of Community Services.
Great. And I think we have one or two people hopping on. If you did just join us, if you can, we're in introduction, so if you could introduce yourself with your name and organization, if applicable. And hi, Ray, I think you just joined us. If you can introduce yourself with.
Oh, sure thing. I'm Ray Solidaris. I'm the Director of Career Services for Goodwill, and I oversee our WEO adult and dislocated worker programs in Hawaii County and Maui County.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, I'm gonna move on, but if Bennett, if you can help me watch for.
There's two, yeah, Shivani and Ariel, and I know there's a Wheel on Maui.
Hi, Shamani Ramos, Public Information Officer, Director's Office.
Hi, I'm Ariel from DLIR Fiscal Office.
Right, thank you.
I think that's it, Chair.
Okay, appreciate that. That's always a little awkward, but thank you for helping us comply with sunshine law. And it really does help with minutes. Moving on to our second item on the agenda is a presentation for our PR campaign. So to kick things off, we'll now hear from Caroline Witherspoon, President of Becker Communications. Becker Communications was competitively selected using program year 2022 unexpected funds to lead a public awareness effort aimed at increasing the visibility and use of American job centers, of Hawaii's American job centers. They've developed a statewide multi-channel plan to reach job seekers, employers, and community partners. So today they'll walk us through the research that informed the campaign and share their outreach plan and key deliverables. So Caroline, it's great to have you with us today, and I believe you have a presentation for us, correct?
We do, yes. So Jocelyn's going to drive that. But thank you so much for this opportunity to share this exciting initiative. We're here today to present the campaign that we've developed really to connect Hawaii's people with the resources that they need to thrive through the American Job Center. You'll see as we get into our presentation that we've come up with a simple, powerful local message that's going to carry throughout this very short period of time. But I wanted to start by sharing the results of a Hawaii resident attitude survey that was conducted in April. Jocelyn, you can move forward one more. So this was an omnibus study that was conducted and contracted through Anthology Fin. Again, it took place in April. They were able to speak with 410 residents statewide, which gives us a margin of error of a plus or minus 4.84 percentage points and a 95% level of confidence, which is a good thing. And all of the data was weighted to make sure that it's reflective of our population based on the most recent census data. And so we have an executive summary on the next page. So starting just with the facts, 81% of Hawaii residents have never heard of AJC Hawaii. And even among job seekers, 72% of them were unaware of the services available to them through this center. But here's the good news. Once people use AJC services, 65% said they're very likely to use them again. And so this tells us that the product works. We just need to bridge that awareness gap and bring kind of the brand to life. And that's what we're hoping to do through this campaign. If you go to slides 4, Jocelyn, I'll walk you through each of the slides, but we probably won't spend a whole lot of time, but we can, Keith, I don't know if you want us to stop as we're going, or if you guys want to ask questions after we present the research.
I think you could go ahead and, but if anybody does have any questions that can't wait till the end.
Okay. So again, before taking the survey, had you heard of American Job Centers? We looked at the statewide numbers. Awareness is a little bit higher on Oahu compared to the neighbor islands, but again, 81% never heard of it before taking part in the study. Next slide. Of the 19% that had heard of us, 59% of them recall seeing ads, whereas 11% do not recall. So this just tells us that advertising does play a key role in name awareness. Next slide. There we go. 72% of the respondents who indicated that they are either currently or potentially looking for employment in the coming year had never heard of AJC. So that's what I'd said at the top there. And if you look at those that are aware of American Job Center, men are statistically more likely to have heard of us. The younger audiences have the highest awareness. In terms of ethnicity, Caucasians were the most aware, followed by Native Hawaiians, and then you'll see other demographics there. And then college graduates were statistically more likely to have heard of AJC Hawaii. If they'd heard of AJC, they were then asked, what have you heard about American Job Centers? And so unaided, number one, they were aware of job placement assistance, then resume and interview preparation, training and skill development, followed by free employment services and career guidance and planning. If asked if they've ever personally used the services of American Job Center Hawaii location, again, statewide, we are at 17%. Higher usage on Oahu compared to the neighbor islands, which is matching our unaided name awareness. So those who have actually used AJC, 76% of them recall seeing ads compared to 5% who had not seen our ads. So again, advertising is playing a key role in driving clients to the center. For those who've used, so again, statistically higher usage for those under the age of 50. Interestingly, the more affluent segments of the sample were statistically the most likely to have used AJC Hawaii. Caucasians were the most likely to have used it, again, followed by Native Hawaiian. And then those born and raised in Hawaii are statistically more likely to have used it. Further looking at it, married respondents, college graduates, homeowners, and then larger household sizes were, again, statistically higher users of AJC. So then we just asked, you know, in the past 3 months, have you seen or heard advertising or messaging for American Job Centers? And statewide, we were at 17%. Again, Oahu, much higher than neighbor islands. So for those who had seen or heard advertising, similar demographics, men, those under the age of 50, college graduates, those born and raised in Hawaii. So it's mirroring the other demographics. Again, married, more affluent, Caucasian, and homeowners. So in the past 3 months, have you seen or heard advertising or messaging? 2/3 of the respondents who indicate, so this is among those who said that they might be looking for jobs shortly. 2/3 of the respondents who indicated they are either currently or will potentially look for employment in the coming year have not, can you go back, Jocelyn? Have not been exposed to or do not recall any advertising or messaging. So 66% who are our potential users of AJC don't recall seeing any advertising. So then we asked, if you needed job seeking support, how likely are you to turn to American Job Center Hawaii? So this is on a 4-point scale. So the midpoint is 2.5. And so the resulting numbers was a 2.78. So they said that indicates a net positive or likely sentiment when asked about potential use. If you needed job seeking support, how likely are you to turn to American Job Center Hawaii? Among those who previously used AJC services, 65% are likely to come back. So that's, again, the number I referenced at the very beginning. And 34% somewhat likely. So that's, you know, nobody said not likely, or 1%. So if you needed job seeking support, how likely are you to turn? So this is where our demographics shift a little bit, because now we're saying females are statistically more likely to use it, even though the other data showed us that the men were the ones that currently were. Adults under 50. This one was also interesting because Caucasians statistically the most likely to anticipate using it, and that was the number one ethnicity on all of these demographic breakdowns. And then if you recall, Native Hawaiian was second, but now it's at the very bottom in terms of whether they said that they would turn to American Job Center. So that was a really interesting thing for us to look at and to try to figure out why that might be. And then those born and raised in Hawaii, statistically more likely to consider using AJC. Which of the following services would you be most interested in learning more if you needed job seeking support? And so there's obviously stronger appeal for career guidance and career or job training programs, and new employment opportunities is obviously number one, if you look at that.
My turn? Okay.
Was that it?
So,
Okay.
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I know we ran through that quickly. And again, I don't know if we want to address anything right now, or again, if you want to wait until the end, Keith.
Yeah, I think I'll entertain a couple questions. We do want to keep it moving, but if anybody does have any questions now.
It's an observation, Chair, if I can.
Sure, please.
And maybe it's already, you folks have been led to the same conclusion, but it's just ironic that the people who don't necessarily need the services because they don't have as much barriers are the ones who are aware of our presence. But the ones who have barriers, who probably are the population that really the AJC is intended to serve, we're not reaching that demographics.
Good observation. Any other questions? Last call. We will ask. We will have opportunity for questions after the entire presentation. Okay, let's move forward.
Okay. All right, so we have come up based on this study or survey, a campaign that really is going to resonate with the local community, right? So we called it, "If I Can, You Can." So the overview is, as Caroline mentioned, a lot of people aren't aware of the AJCs, and the goal really is to use local voices that are relatable stories to reduce the stigma and raise awareness of the AJC statewide. It's going to run from today. Actually, you might be seeing some spots running today, both on social media and then also on broadcast. And we're going to use a mix of traditional and digital media. Really, our goals are to increase the visibility of the AJCs across all counties, build trust with culturally relevant, hopeful messaging, and drive more people, especially those who need it the most, to take advantage of the free job support, because that's really important that it is free for anybody who's using it. Our target audiences are the unemployed and underemployed. When we were doing our site visits, that was sort of reiterated that people who are coming to the center may already have jobs, but they're not making enough to make ends meet, or they need a second job, which is really cutting into other parts of their lives. So looking at how to improve that and again, make up that difference. First-time job seekers, career changers, which we saw a lot of as well, and then the underserved ethnic communities. Secondarily, it's community leaders and the local employers and business owners. Our key messages really is, if I can do it, you can do it too. Its services are free, local, and effective, and that everyone deserves to have meaningful work. Our campaign components, so storytelling through local personalities. So we really wanted this to resonate to a broad range of demographics, a broad range of ages, and we landed on 3 personalities to use. Augie T, who respected entertainer, well-known in the community. Lanai, great strong media presence and deep community ties as well. And again, they resonate probably with the older boomers, Gen X, older millennials. And then to attract the younger audience, for Gen Z, younger millennials, is Passion Santos, who has a really strong social media following on Instagram and TikTok. Really funny, very engaging. And really, she really resonated with the message as well. So you'll see them appearing in our TV and radio spots, as well as our social media campaign. For multimedia advertising, traditional TV, but we also realize lots of people don't do what we used to call appointment TV, where they're not watching the news at 6 o'clock or sitting down at 8 o'clock to watch TV. So we have negotiated with the TV stations to also be on their streaming services as well, and then their digital ads too. Radio, still really strong, especially in a commuter state like ours. You know, neighbor islands, you have longer commutes. Oahu, shorter, but still the same amount of time as you're stuck in gridlock. So really good way to get a captive audience. Reaching out to community newsletters, faith-based organizations as well. And then out of home, which is a fancy way for the bus ad, since we don't have billboards here. For the digital and social media, we're tackling it two ways. One is the organic social media posts, where we'll have organic content to share stories and testimonials, how-to videos and graphics, but also from a digital advertising campaign. Again, lots of people are spending time online, so Google, as they're doing searches, YouTube is really strong, and Facebook and Instagram. And then from a community standpoint, you know, job fairs, school visits, partnerships with nonprofits and faith-based organizations. It's a ground level approach that builds trust and meets people where they are instead of asking them to always come to us. So getting the information out to where they are. And then our traditional media relations, pitching out stories, op-eds, feature story placements, lots of success stories that we're getting as we're doing site visits to the different AJCs. We do have a planned op-ed to coincide with Labor Day. We thought that would be a strong tie-in and again, providing meaningful work for everyone here in Hawaii. And then we have our favorite part, and this is the creative that we want to share. So again, we really wanted to lean into some of the humor and the strengths that our talent has used. So you'll see that while we gave them the main talking points, we really let them kind of create the ad so that it was authentic to them and resonated with their audience as well. So we have 2 TV spots to share, 1 radio spot, and then we'll go into some of the other social media and collateral materials. So our first one is called the Teppanyaki Chef.
Nice at this place.
Yeah, nice.
And no order too much.
What you talking about? What you doing, the haka?
No, no more money. Hey, it's the girl from the internet.
Fashion.
Hey, you guys the Bradas, right?
What you doing here?
Well, got this through American Job Center. They help me with everything. Training, interview prep, my resume. And best of all, no need pay. It's free. Because if I can, you can.
So that's the first one. The second one will feature Passion and Augie. And this one we wanted to lean into a little bit more of the training that's available or the training that the agencies can help secure and provide.
Help? Hello?
How's it?
Hey, Lanai.
No, Augie.
My car is making this like sound.
Yeah, sound like you get on flat.
No, what are you doing here?
Oh, well, I'm still training, but thanks to the American Job Center, they're helping me with my training, my resume, and my interview. And the best part, it's absolutely free.
Oh, maybe I should try.
And remember, if I can, you can, we all can.
Should I shine the light to the left? The other left.
So these TV spots, these spots will be on TV, run and broadcast, but we'll also use them for social media advertising as well and lean into that. We also have a lot of bloopers from what the shoots that we had, so we'll be using those as well. And then both Augie and Passion said they would gladly collaborate with us on our social media posts, so it'll show up on their feeds as well. So really to broaden the reach of the spots. And then we have a radio spot that features Passion and Augie as well. This one's called The Maid.
Hello, housekeeping.
Hey, Augie.
No, Augusto, I'm your housekeeper.
What are you doing here?
I'm here to clean your room.
How you got this job?
American Job Center. They help me with everything. Training, resume, interview, and the best part, all for free.
Ooh, free? Can free upgrade my room?
Well, you should upgrade your life at the American Job Center.
I will. And if you're looking for work, call, find us online, or visit us in Hilo.
And remember, if I can, you can.
It is you, Augie.
So this radio spot is going to, we've actually, if you notice the end, it was tagged Hilo. We actually have created spots for every island because we wanted it to be specific for that island. And we are doing statewide buys as well. So, questions so far? Okay. And then our social media posts. So for this, it will be on the DLIR social media platforms. So we have island-specific posts. The sample that we have here, or example we have here, is from the Hilo office. So we'll have these for each of the islands. We also have videos on how to find us because some of them people might not be familiar where they are. So we did create some videos for that. The other thing that we found out when we were doing our site visits to the AJCs is they had some really great success stories. And I want to share one with you. And this is actually somebody who works for the AJC, but it started out as a client of the AJC. And this one, he's from Hilo.
Ten years ago, I ran into the American Job Center Hawaii at a community outreach event. This event had made me aware of the different programs and services that they offered for youth. At that time, I was currently experiencing homelessness, so it had assisted me in getting an internship, which was located at the American Job Center. From there, I became an administrative assistant. From an administrative assistant, I became a case manager. Then I became the one-stop operator for the American Job Center Hawaii. And from there, I became a rapid response assistant. And then in the current position that I'm in now, which is a Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act Specialist. What I want others to know about my story is that they should never give up. There's always people out there that want to help you, that want you to succeed and move forward in life. As someone who was previously homeless, low income, living on the streets here in Hilo, the American Job Center has afforded me this opportunity to see what else is out there and to go into trainings and internships that allow me to be self-sufficient. If you're low income or homeless, the American Job Center Hawaii is here to help, because if I can do it, you can do it.
So that's just one of the stories we've collected so far. We actually have another one that's being developed for a future post. And then, of course, we want to provide additional fun, informational reels and videos to viewers as well. So we have a quick one here. So if you notice, we really are using a lot of local faces because we can't rebrand American Job Center while we have tagged it Hawaii. We really wanted the visuals to speak to the local audience. Moving on. So to complement that, we also have our digital ads. So two different strategies we have here. One is Google search ads. So you'll see this when you're doing a Google search where it says sponsored. And these will come up for people who are searching for, jobs in Hawaii. It'll point to there. It really targets people who are actually looking for jobs. When they type in things like job openings near me, free job training in Hawaii. And the messaging emphasizes that no experience needed and free local support. Again, we really wanted to emphasize the free and local. And then there's the Google Performance Max. So this is what we would call display ads on Google's network, but it reaches a broader audience across YouTube, Gmail, mobile apps, and websites. So it'll target people who may not necessarily be looking for it, but would benefit from getting the information as well. It uses real faces, short testimonial style videos, and inclusive messaging. So again, we're repurposing some of the assets that we're getting when we do our site visits for our ad campaigns. So there's some consistency across the board for that. And then our out-of-home ads, this is the one that's on the bus. It's actually, I think it was installed last week, Friday. So if you're on the bus, you should be seeing it around the island. And it'll be up through the duration of the campaign through the end of October. And then as we do our community outreach, we have created flyers that we will leave behind. So we created, it's the same flyer, just a little bit of different version. So we have a statewide one. We've also created island specific. So people on Hawaii Island will get the information for their island. And then we also translated it into several languages, including Chinese, Tagalog, Ilocano, Korean, and Vietnamese. And that's it. So questions?
Yeah, great. Thank you. I appreciate the mix and the different ways to reach various audiences, but thank you both, Caroline and Jocelyn. Are there any questions either from the WDC members or guests? I have one, but actually I had two. I was going to ask whether you're working with DLIR comms folks, but I already see it on the DLIR Facebook page. So I assume that's yes.
Yeah, we work with Shivani to get that done.
Okay, great. My question though is, how would you measure success, or what metrics will you be using to, say a year from now or at the end of the campaign?
Well, so we had in place a post-campaign survey, but it falls outside kind of the window. So we're gonna have to find other metrics right now outside the budget window. So we'll look at engagement, click-through rates, impressions, and that type of thing. But ultimately, if budget can be found for it, I think a post survey, so you can see whether those awareness numbers, right? I mean, ultimately, that's going to be the biggest tell, as well as if we see any increased usage at AJC. And we really are trying to not only drive people directly to the center, but again, just increasing like more of the click-throughs, or the, scanning the QR codes and just getting information into people's hands, like where they are.
I have a question for, not necessarily for Becker, but for the folks who are running the AJCs. Maybe Kevin, when people come in and you're doing intake, are you able to ask them the question as to how they heard of AJC? Perhaps even anecdotally, we can keep track of those numbers and whether they would be able to share that, oh yeah, I heard the ad. Would that be difficult to undertake?
Thank you for the question, Bennett. No, that would not be difficult. It should be fairly easy and standard, going along with some of the other questions that we asked. And of course, keeping it simple. Of course, we normally ask everyone that walk in if they are a veteran or if they served in the armed forces. But simply adding on like, hey, I just wanted to know, how'd you hear about us, should be easy enough for them to do.
Let's see whether you can do that and as soon as possible, because I know they're starting today. And refresh my memory, when is the last time that this is going to be aired, Caroline?
Jocelyn, do you have the schedule?
I think it's running through the end of October.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great suggestion there. I noted the language translation. Is there any plans or maybe with a recommendation for the future to explore that in other media like radio? Was that limited to the print?
Sorry, I failed to mention it. So we actually have a radio buy with Kiandia, who has all those multiple languages.
Yep.
We drafted a script for them that they are actually translating into each of those languages.
Great. Thank you.
And then otherwise, we were going to make sure that we're hitting up the various cultural centers, the churches that, reach specific populations. We weren't able to get into some of the print publications in time because we had to start by a certain date. So that's something that they might want to consider down the road.
Oh, let's see. Siobhan?
Yeah, I just had one question. Especially for the print ads, aren't we supposed to add the Stevens amendment? Like, I don't know if you folks are aware of that. It's basically like a disclaimer at the end that says this ad or this like the U.S. Department of Labor, Employment and Training Administration funds this ad through various federal grants totaling for Oahu, something like that. I don't know who's that directed to, but I think we're supposed to add it.
I think we should, yeah.
Yeah.
You have the verbiage for that?
Yeah, I have a template or like some like a boilerplate that you could work off of.
And where does that need to go?
At the very bottom.
Yeah, like at the bottom.
Of all of everything?
You printed.
Of printed? Okay.
Yeah,
So like a
printed
flyer?
or like electronic, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
If someone can get that to us, that would be great. Thank you.
Shivani's gonna do it.
Okay.
I think it shouldn't be, because we're not really technically printing anything, Caroline, right? So.
We printed flyers for outreach.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Can I just get some feedback, Chair, from maybe even just the council members, just to put it on record what they thought about it, not to put anybody on the spot.
I'll go. I actually I thought it was well done. You know, I mean, especially like given the target audience and who's the most likely to, you know, who it's most likely to reach. I think it was well done that way.
Thank you, Council Member Dizon.
Any other feedback from our council members? Echoing what I shared before, I appreciate it's not hard to reach people these days. People are consuming their media and information from so many different ways, and definitely not. I think as Jocelyn mentioned, not everybody's watching the same news at the same time. So I think that, and even the choice of talent, I think is appropriate, and I think will be effective.
Yeah, it covers all the generations, yeah.
David?
Or Keith, sorry. I just wondering, like AJCs have partners and partnerships, right? How are we using them to disseminate this ad or this campaign?
They're all housed within the AJCs, right? So
What we can also do is in our social media posts, we're actually going to be tagging those that have profiles on social media. So it also gets out to their audiences as well.
do they have? I don't know. Does DVR have a presence? See, that's the thing. I don't think they do, David. Not certain. We can find out, but certainly it's not too late if we would like to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, there could be an opportunity to collaborate with those who do have social.
Yeah, I see Nalani's note there, so we'll make sure. Yeah.
Thanks, Nalani. Hey, Jade, maybe Maui can too?
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that?
Oh, because Kauai just said county can push out through their social media networks and websites for Kauai. So we're wondering if Maui could also do a similar effort.
Yeah, absolutely. I can get with Chantel and then also our comms team as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And we got a commitment from the city and county of Honolulu that they would do the same when we did our site visit with them.
Great.
Any other feedback, questions, comments? If not, thank you both. Thank you, Caroline and Jocelyn. Oh,
I
let's
have.
see.
Thank you.
Let's see. We are able to do the same. Got it. Hawaii County and push the media upstairs.
Hey, Jocelyn and Caroline, do you think it would be well worth it to post I don't know, embedded into the WDC website, the two ads?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
can
for
do that
sure.
as well.
Okay, there be no further comments. Again, thank you both. We really appreciate Becker Communications, your work and your time. I know that we'll be continuing to our Bennett and staff will continue to be in touch. Feel free to stay on if you want to, or feel free to drop off. We'll be moving on with our next item.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Appreciate it. And actually, I was kind of impressed that they avoided the digital gremlins. So all the videos worked, which is kind of astounding sometimes. But moving on to our third item, legislative matters. And let's see. So yeah, what we wanted to do is take or begin to identify topics for the 2026 legislative session. Seems like we just finished last session, but we wanted to open up the floor for input and ideas as we start shaping our committee's direction and recommendations. Legislative matters is within the scope of the Special Projects Committee. And maybe to kick things off, what I can do is just give a bit of a recap of how we came to where we are right now. So a bit of a lot of you will recall that myself and Tui Scanlon, we were given authority to act on behalf of the Workforce Development Council, as long as those issues or topics are in aligned with the council sentiment as during the legislative session, because that does require a very fast pace. Sometimes 2 days notice, you need to provide testimony. We did weigh in on, I believe, 7 measures. Most of them were governor's messages as they related to Workforce Development Council members being confirmed as members of the council. There was one bill that was not a governor's message. It was a bill, Senate Bill 742, that had to do with data integration and specifically forming a government's working group. That was signed by the governor, and that the Workforce Development Working Group will be formed. The Workforce Development Council will remain engaged in that working group because the WDC's chair is a member of that working group. So our chair can either participate himself or designate someone to participate in his behalf. The overall process seemed to work. We were just kind of exercising our muscles with regard to the WDC testing the process and the protocol that we've established to weigh in with testimony. And but a couple lessons learned or improvements that we had for 2026 involved 4 areas. So the need to begin the legislative preparation in the October-December timeframe so that we could start even before we start session. the WDC has some issues in mind. Being proactive with bill development or language is something that we could consider. And expanding testimony strategy so developing more comprehensive, for example, position papers prior to session, and then of coalition building, so strengthening our own partnerships with businesses and labor organizations for joint advocacy. I don't want to talk too much, so probably the last thing I could touch on are some issues that seem to come up during the legislative session. And let's see if I did jot down a list. Or I thought I did. There was a lot of focus on training and even internship programs that emerged in the legislature this past session, as well as some of those not direct workforce development programs, but those issues that are of great importance. For example, childcare, cost of living, barriers to employment. Also came up and as ways to help further development of workforce issues. But with that, what I would like to do is just open up the forum. If there are any topics, feel free to throw it out there, things that you'd like to see us consider for as general topics, priorities for next session, even things to be aware of and maybe even come out against.
Is there a news, Chair, as to whether there's going to be a special session? It's supposed to be today, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen, but there's certainly been the suggestion that there would be maybe later in the year, fourth quarter, but I haven't seen any latest news on that. But it is probable, I would say.
So just heads up that if there is a special session, I think those GMs or those that were appointed by the governor but did not go through Senate confirmation may go through their Senate confirmation for this special session. I think there are at least 6 of them. Governor's appointments. Just heads up.
Got it.
Can I just commend you, Chair, for the leadership and for taking this on? This is 2 years in the making. Or is it 3 years? And we walked before we ran. We're not even running yet, but I think that the very deliberate approach that you took, I think was point well taken, and I think it bodes well for the protocols that you would be establishing, the committee would be establishing for future legislative sessions. Thank you for your leadership. And of course, Tui and your vice chair as well.
Yes, ditto to that. Even, there was a review process, so we made sure that many eyes were on testimony, and that we, to the degree that at all possible, sharing that in advance with the department legislative contacts, and working together, seeing where there's opportunities to reinforce the 4 pillars from the WDC's own plan, and just take advantage of that mutual support. But again, yeah, if there's any issues top of mind, we'd certainly love to take note of it in our report to the WDC. We're not looking to make any decisions today. Anything that we do share and eventually recommend to the full council is subject to approval at the end of the year. I'm actually wondering if there might be a way where we can, beyond this meeting, continue to accept suggestions from WDC members and the public, whether that's through an email or otherwise, written.
Well, if it's, remember, if it's just between you and another council member, that's acceptable interaction. So, but if there's three, then it becomes a sunshine law,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
violation or
something to be
whatever.
mindful
So,
of, and also the reason why we needed to test this protocol when it comes it came to legislative affairs.
so if a council member comes to you or a member of the public, there's no sunshine law, right? It doesn't matter. But if it's some council member, one council member reaching out to you is acceptable interaction. Yeah.
One thing that we should probably note is taking or continuing to track the data, workforce data bill that was passed, and continue to track that, not only because of our own involvement, but because it has the potential to facilitate data around workforce, and that could be valuable. That working group does have the responsibility to deliver a report to the legislature at the end of the year. That could be something that we could invite a presentation around fourth quarter or for first quarter, whether through this committee or to the whole or to the full WDC. There
Great
might be
idea.
some,
Great idea.
might be some recommendations even in that report as well that the WDC could consider getting behind legislatively next session.
I think I just wanted to put out there in terms of if the report, and I guess I'm thinking more in terms of timeline, like how you mentioned, October to December type of timeline, but if the report preceded that and then also accompanied maybe a survey, it's because we didn't actually have an opportunity to survey a council or anyone, right, before the last session? No. Maybe I guess the recommendation or suggestion is possibly to consider survey along with the report.
Can I check with OIP how we can do that without violating any sunshine, just to make sure that we're dotting our
Of
I's and
course,
crossing
please.
our T? Yeah, but point well taken, Councilmember Gizon, and we'll certainly take that into consideration and get back to you on that suggestion. And maybe between Chair, if we can work, the staff can work with you on the timeline so that in terms of if ever there's any potential legislation that you'd like to espouse or support, that can be vetted with the DLIR folks, and then that way we're all on the same page. So that can be considered as part of the timeline.
Yeah, and that could be an action item that we include either for review at a future special projects committee to formalize that timeline, so that we know what milestones we need to hit.
Yeah, because as you know, sometimes November, December is too late because a lot of the legislators are actually formulating their priorities October. So that's not necessarily around the corner, but still not too far away.
Okay. Just looking back at a couple of the bills that emerged, things that we tracked over session, a couple more examples. Again, I already mentioned state internship and workforce development programs. There were a couple that involved that. several involving economic diversification and leveraging defense-related personnel.
Keith, I believe there was also that resolution about the study and establishment of a workforce excellence award program, that French one. But it's only it didn't pass concurrently, but it was something that the legislature brought up.
Yeah.
Who was the sponsor of that, David?
I believe it was Stanley Chang.
Mhm.
Bennett, are there any housekeeping legislative
There
needs?
are, yeah,
Okay.
there are. So I think we can offline for now because I'm not at liberty to I'm not ready or prepared to share with you that list. But there are some housekeeping things on our bylaws that need to be supplemented by the HRS.
Okay, that's
Yeah. So we just need to make sure they're aligned. The bylaws and the HRS are in sync.
And one thing we could plan to do, perhaps myself and Tuli, staying within that 2-member permitted interaction, is at some advanced meetings with our labor chair or committee chairs at the legislature to see what they're thinking.
Not a bad idea at all. And then we also have to have a huddle as to what those housekeeping measures could be. Those are easy enough to do. But you would need a sponsor for those as well.
David, from the department side, is there any opportunity for WDC to support or collaborate? I mean, we are sure to keep legislative coordinator contacts updated, but do you see any opportunities?
Right. So after the governor's veto deadline, and he lets bills become law without a signature, we intend to invite all the different divisions and get their ideas on what possible legislation that they want to submit in the next session. So that will go around.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's more later part of the year, yeah, David. So I know the deadline is July 9th.
Yeah. So it's going to be in this month. So I'm shooting for like July 20th, and we'll start going around for the different divisions.
Okay.
Okay. Again, open to any, even if it's top of mind or issues that we may or may not be able or might not be appropriate for us to weigh in on, but I'm thinking pain points for workforce development, whether it's access to opportunities, would be happy to take note of them now. If not, we'll likely for the next meeting, we'll formulate a tighter list around any housekeeping measures or legislative proposals that might be required. Looking back at some of the bills from last year that we were tracking, we did not weigh in on, but many of those could emerge again. It being the same biennium. And yeah, we could report back then.
Great ideas. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. It being 4 o'clock, we'll move ahead with our next meeting. Our next agenda item 4, which is the executive director's report. Bennett, if you could take it away.
Sure. So For those of you who were part of the quarterly board meeting, which just happened last week, a lot of this may be information that you might have heard, but we really don't know who's in the room. So we want to make sure that we cover all the bases here and just share about all the highlights for Workforce Development Council. So go ahead. So we wanted to give you an update on our unified plan implementation. The exciting part is on July 9th, we're going to have our Workforce Synergy Summit, which is on July 9th, like I mentioned, at the Honolulu Community College from 8 o'clock to 12 noon. We have received the assistance at a grant from the National Governors Association to help us develop our North Star, or what we're now calling Hawaii's generational commitment, and that will be unfolded during the summit. So the timeline for the implementation is on target, and the North Star statement is, as mentioned, is being finalized. Go ahead. This is the timeline that you probably have seen many times, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody's aware of what to expect, that after the July summit, we're hoping to have a Future of Work conference in September, and hopefully the governor will proclaim it, as he has been for the last 2 years, September being Workforce Development Month. And hopefully all of this will be submitted in terms of the work that we have accomplished to the director as well as to the governor and the legislature. And we will be then in line or on a good path to the modification plan, which is submitted to the U.S. Department of Labor in March or April next year. So pretty much a lot of our work is finished, at least on the strategic side. The operational side would then be the only one that we need to focus on. Go ahead, next slide. This is the timeline for the delineations of roles and responsibilities. And I just wanted to point out that all throughout 2024, there is a group of us who have been working diligently to map out the roles and responsibilities between WDD and WDC. And even though, despite the fact that we've been meeting regularly, the completion of that is probably during the third quarter, not the second quarter as we thought we could. So we're going to aspire to complete an MOU and execute an MOU, and then make sure that we roll it out to the stakeholders so that then there's less ambiguity, or hopefully no ambiguity, as far as those roles and responsibilities. So go ahead. These are some of the highlights for quarter 1 and quarter 2. And one of the things that is on our radar is developing new website functions. We're hoping to have the roster of the Workforce Development Council members with their photos and a little bit of their bios. I think we're hoping to do that live very shortly, I think within this week. Go ahead, Kelly. And for quarter 3, we're going to start mapping out organizational planning, trying to look at where our committees are, and hopefully be able to make sure that they stay relevant, working with the committee chairs. If there are any adjustments that need to be done, we're hoping to have budget planning, board retreat planning, all through September, October time period. And of course, as you know, we need to step up because of the fact that for Kauai, because Kauai has no board, so essentially the board, the state board acts as the local board, but we need to make sure that we have technical assistance, and we've requested it from the U.S. Department of Labor so we can start functioning as such. And I think, okay, this is the upcoming events. We had our fiscal training. It was successfully completed Thursday and Friday last week. We had about 40 plus folks from from the various parts of the workforce development boards who attended the training. We're having a webinar opportunity with Strata Foundation. I think that's going to be exciting. More information to come. That's forthcoming in July. And the Future of Work conference is in September 24th. I hope you have that marked in your calendars. And very shortly, we're launching the search for workforce development heroes. And they will be awarded during the Future of Work conference. So if you have somebody that you think would be worthy to be heralded as a workforce development hero, please make sure that you submit your paperwork. There will be an announcement as far as forms and as well as far as deadlines in the very foreseeable future, maybe as soon as in a couple of weeks. So that's it, Chair. That's all I have, unless you have questions.
Thank you for that. Any questions before we move on? Okay, well, with that, under item 5, we have time for any announcement and comments. And so the public is welcome to announce any upcoming events and comment on relevant issues that were not included in this meeting's agenda. So please be advised that in compliance with state sunshine law, the committee cannot discuss or act on any of these new issues that were not included in the agenda, but issues raised during this period may be included in future agenda item or as future agenda items for the committee's consideration. So we ask that you keep comments to 2 minutes for each speaker. Are there any announcements or testimony from the public? Being that there appear to be none. Our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for September 29th at 1:30 p.m. via Zoom and in person in room 310 in the DLIR building. And with that, thank you all for your participation. There being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 4:08 p.m.
Mahalo.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.